Hey everybody! You can see us now and sort of hear music fading away, which means it is time for the Halfy Hour, of course, with Matt Ufford to my left.
Hello.
Myself, Dan Rubenstein, and the very funny, terrific-looking, talented comedian, television host, tweeter, man of all trades.
I'm a man of all trades, master of none.
Master of none.
Except for being terrific looking. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to say his name. It's Reese Waters.
Yes.
Follow him on Twitter. Check out ReeseWaters.com. All that fun stuff. You've seen him recently as the host of Unite on ESPNU.
They didn't see that. Nobody saw it.
Somebody saw it.
Okay, so that's true. That's fair enough. You saw it.
I saw it. I liked it. I was a fan. I'm a fan of Reese. I've known him for a little while.
Funny story about that, though.
Yeah.
Because my family down in South Carolina, it's basically a bunch of 80-year-old black people.
Okay.
That religiously
Sounds
watch
like
the
my
show.
family.
Yeah, exactly. So you can identify.
Yeah, okay. Religiously watch.
They religiously watch to get my ratings up. So it's like my grandmother, who can't remember when to eat,
Right.
will watch Unite every night, finding out all about the BCS
Right.
and who's going to the national championship game.
course.
She has no clue what's going on, but she got to protect her baby.
They don't have a Nielsen box, do they?
No, they don't.
That's
No,
not
they
how
don't,
TV
unfortunately.
works.
That's
It's the principle.
It's not a big demographic.
But
Nielsen.
they're supportive,
Exactly.
and that's important.
Yes.
And when you are in the ridiculous music videos and you're hosting the Oscars, you'll treat them well.
I
because
will.
they stood by you, giving you the ratings early.
Hopefully they're still standing then.
They're still I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Resilient,
I'm just
supportive.
calling it what it is.
There it is. True. All right, so Reese is in town. We obviously are now in a position where the NBA Finals is behind us.
Yep.
Last night, of course, the Heat beat the Spurs and got real fun with it overnight.
Yep.
Another fun story that we should also touch on, Aaron Hernandez, potential murderer.
Yeah.
Potential.
We're all potential murderers.
That's true.
That's true.
You just
That's
got to
a
get the
fair
right
point.
circumstance.
There's a reason to do anything. Just don't do it. That's the old Chris Rock bit.
True.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting week in sports. Let's start out with this. What has been your favorite thing? It could have been anything that happened in your life of the week. It could have been your favorite sporting event. Could have been your favorite meal. Funniest thing you saw. Weirdest thing you saw on the street, in an office,
Yeah.
anything. What has been your favorite thing of the week?
Well, my favorite thing is today is the first day of summer.
Yes.
Officially it is.
And, people that live in places like Miami and LA don't understand what summer means to us here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to go through 5 months of looking at, ashy feet and bubble coats and, the makeup smears with the mucus and, that kind of
Yep.
thing. It's just something about having everything taken away from you, and then it's all just presented for you in one package that is just so amazing. So I'm very fired up for the summer.
I didn't realize this. Matt, you've grown up in multiple cities,
All
but
over.
that were cold.
Yes.
A lot of cold weather cities. You grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. You know this. I grew up in L.A., so there was never really a transition.
Yes.
People were just dressed pretty for warm weather all year long.
You don't appreciate it,
But
Dan.
now, since I've moved here, you're right. Now, since I moved here, the transition where it's like, I see legs.
Yeah.
Legs are on the streets. It's a wonderful thing, especially, the females.
Yeah, it's pretty strong.
It's pretty nice.
And
it's skirt day. Are you familiar with this term?
Yeah.
It's great. It's a great thing.
And I'm not only the president of the Rex Ryan fan club, I'm also a client. We have a lot of similar interests.
Good.
So I've been known to walk down the street in the summertime just eyes down.
Feet.
Just 45 degrees. It's just it's like they're naked.
I appreciated a nice pair of shoes on a lady.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Some,
What are your shoe power rankings on a lady?
I'd go the traditional stiletto has got to be like the
Okay.
number one. Espadrilles are high up there for me.
What
I
is-
like
what is an
nice-
espadrille?
It's a-
Okay. I was gonna
it's
pretend.
it's like a wedge, regular wedge, but
Right.
It's got the ribbon that laces around the lower leg.
Wow.
It's nice.
That's
Oh,
somebody who listens
okay.
to his lady friend.
I taught her that word.
Whoa.
But see, there's too much coverage. There's too much coverage with that.
Fair enough.
So you like seeing arches
Yeah.
and contours.
I like exactly.
You like the
I wanna-
topography of the human foot.
You have just expressed my inner desires in a way I never could.
If you thought we were going to open this show up talking feet sex, you were right.
Yeah.
we were admiring feet straight into feet sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, somebody had to make the leap. I don't know. Okay, so your favorite thing has been the transition
Has been the transition into summer.
into warmth.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
Matt, what has been your favorite thing of the week?
Oh gosh, I don't even. It's been a blur. I
Really?
barely.
Okay.
I would say probably games 6 and 7 of it was so much fun to watch.
Yes.
And I wasn't. I was kind of cheering for the Heat, but I would have been fine with the Spurs winning.
Right.
I just wanted to see good basketball, and I was rewarded with that and then some.
Wait, now what was your reasoning for kind of cheering for the Heat?
I more so than anything, I've got even though this Spurs team is one that I liked, I have like years of enmity towards the Spurs because I hated Robert Horry, hated Bruce Bowen. They always beat these teams that I loved, whether it be Steve Nash's Suns, the Warriors this year, and so I'm just so used to rooting against the Spurs. Whereas the Heat, I was cheering against certain storylines in the media, and I didn't want to hear like LeBron's been to 3 finals in 3 years, only won once, can't finish it. I don't want. I'd rather.
What does this mean for Mario Chalmers?
If he never wins another NBA Finals, fine, I don't care. But like at least he got his 2 in 3 years, and we don't have to worry. He's the best basketball player on the planet. We don't have to deal with questions about whether he can't step up for the big stage. It's stupid.
Yeah. See, now I struggle with that quite a bit because despite my Washington roots, we have one of the worst collection of NBA players that have ever happened in the world.
Vesely.
The Washington Wizards. So, just to keep it interesting for myself, I like the Lakers. I follow Kobe Bryant. And these are probably the last 2 teams you would ever want to see win a title if you're a Kobe fan. You don't want to see LeBron get another title, and all of a sudden it shifts from the Kobe era to the LeBron era. And obviously, legacy-wise, Tim Duncan and his Spurs run against the Lakers run, they're head-and-head. So these are the last 2 teams you want to see. So I struggled with it until I saw the Heat fans act throughout the course of the finals. And I realized, you know what? I don't hate the Heat players nearly as much as I hate their fans.
Very
their fans,
unlikable.
That's an excellent point. Although Dwayne Wade is pretty annoying.
That's true.
He's pretty annoying, but the fans with the obnoxious, the leaving early, and then just
the pink pants on the front row.
The pink pants.
That guy.
I saw that
the Warriors jersey guy.
It's a lot of look at me.
I can respect the guy in the Warriors jersey.
You like the guy in the Warriors jersey, but there is, and they don't show up to Marlins games. They don't show up to Hurricane games.
Would you?
No, I wouldn't either. But I'm like we can't be happy for a fan base that cherry picks. Is what I'm saying.
No, absolutely not. And then, even earlier in the playoffs with the woman that flicked off.
The crazy woman. So did you read the whole Gawker story about her?
Oh, it's great.
Might have murdered 2 guys.
Maybe
the more stuff like that pops out, I just lose all faith in the criminal justice system.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch stuff like True TV and they're like, we finally got him, and we found out he had done 15 more murders. And I was like, so I can get away with about 10 or so murders before.
You just got to know when to stop.
Yeah.
It's unfair to generalize an entire fan base based on this one crazy woman, but let's do it anyway.
I have no
it
problem
feels
with
right. She's good looks. She probably had plastic surgery. She's
course.
angry, good seats, and shady past. I feel like that's representative enough.
Sex parties and prescription drugs.
Cougar.
Yeah,
sure.
All she was missing was like a snake, and she just would have hit for the criminal cycle.
There was
an exotic pet in Florida.
Exactly.
The Miami New Times had the slideshow of fans celebrating in the streets, and of like the 50 or so photos, there were like 3 or 4 of people banging pots and pans. And then there was one guy with a snake. There was one guy out partying with his snake.
Oh, of course it was. Did you, by the way, see the video of the python entering a room?
I did.
Oh, Jesus.
I did see that. I didn't believe it.
I don't want to talk about it any longer. It just
Yeah.
reminded me because Celebration Snake.
I hate to be that guy, but come on. You taped it, and all of a sudden the thing just falls through. Clearly, I'm sorry. I didn't believe it.
You thought it was a setup.
I thought it was a setup.
Interesting.
I didn't believe
I hope it's a setup.
Yeah. That was terrible. If that's real, that's terrifying.
Between that and Jurassic Park, that's why you get the round doorknobs and not the ones with handles.
True.
That's true.
Opposable
and who's not
thumbs.
locking their doors these days, people?
With
Step
a python.
into 2013.
Yep.
People get killed out here.
Yes.
Lock your doors.
By Heat fans.
Yes.
That's how you bring it. Before we move on, I think my favorite thing of the week, since you already chose like probably the 2 things I would have taken, the female form in summer, and because, by the way, it gets sweaty in train stations, as you know.
Yes.
Gets even better. Okay,
Wow.
that got weird.
Yeah.
And then obviously games 6 and 7 were incredible. You stay up till 12:30, and it's just great. It's just great TV. Sunday night's TV of Mad Men and Veep. I don't know if you watch either one of those shows.
Yeah.
Real strong.
Yeah.
Very angry on Veep, angry, funny on Veep, and then Mad Men got weird.
Now,
So-
I had this issue with Mad Men. This goes back to last week's episode.
Okay.
I did not like using the device of the daughter walking in on sex again. She already did that. Dan, do you know?
When did she do that?
She did that with Roger Sterling and
That's
Megan's
right.
mom.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Do you,
So the plot point, not
Yes.
necessarily Sally. Okay.
Have either of you or anybody you know ever walked in on old people having sex? As a
I've
child?
heard it. I have not walked in physically.
But twice?
I've tried a few times.
Thank you, Will.
Well, look, if you're trying, you react to it completely
Yes.
differently. Okay.
Hell, it's Will.
Bursting into bedrooms. I haven't said. Dang.
All
You know
right.
better than to announce yourself with
Right.
the drop keys. You
Sure.
just-
Throughout my childhood, I never ever once like walked in on.
Yeah,
on
neither
anybody.
did I.
Actually, not just my childhood, my entire life.
That's-
I've never walked in on anybody. Certainly not twice.
Please knock on
Yeah.
this right
Yeah.
here because it's going to happen.
Actually, I wouldn't mind so much now.
All right. Well, it depends who.
Oh yeah.
Retirement home, not as fun.
No, not so much.
Not as fun. Yeah, so those were the highlights for me. But I wanted to talk about something very important in the wake of last night's victory. We
I
saw.
have one quick note.
Oh, Will,
before-
please.
So no one's really talking about Chris Birdman Anderson now has a championship ring.
Yes.
As he deserves it. He
What
deserves
do you
it.
think that will go for on eBay in 4 years? That
It'll
How much
probably-
meth can he turn that ring?
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
probably go for a, I don't know, an
Don't
empty
do
meth
drugs.
pipe and a 2-piece chicken.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to go
I'm
for.
gonna assume it's gonna be a nice ring.
I'm just going to go ahead and mix my stereotypes there
Yeah.
and say Birdman likes chicken.
It was our friend Celebrity Hot Tub last night who
Yeah.
tweeted that, sorry Spurs, but Mike Miller has already promised this championship ring to his gun dealer.
Yep.
And,
Also a likely possibility.
That was pretty
That
good.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
So in the wake of the NBA finals now being over and it being in a city like Miami, the celebrations have become a story. Drake couldn't get into the locker room,
As
which
well
is
he shouldn't have.
fantastic. Anytime famous people can't get into something and there's video, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
All those videos in LA of Bineses and all those people trying to get into a club, fantastic.
You should listen to your own music, Drake, as long as my bitches love me.
There you go.
It's cool.
That's just a way to live life.
Yeah.
And then you had Shane Battier in a Denny's. I think we have a picture of Shane Battier in Denny's, which is just, I get, you want to eat, you want comfort. You could do a little better than Denny's. I guess it's a late night option.
You know what? That fits Shane Battier's persona.
True.
though.
Yeah, I think you enjoy Denny's as much as you don't have to go to Denny's. If
Right.
you have to go to Denny's, it's not nearly as fun as
Right.
it looked like in that
Like,
picture.
oh, let's stop in. I haven't
Exactly.
had a Grand Slam in 14 years.
Exactly.
That's great. And then we have video of all of the Heat essentially, other than Mr. Battier, in a club. A lot of strong reggaeton presence.
There's a lot of reggaeton horns.
Yeah. So see, as you can see,
There's LeBron and Drake finally got it.
Drake
got it
did
in.
finally get
They shared
there.
some pizza up on stage.
still wearing the hat. It's probably a tough ticket, I would imagine.
Well, you know what? Actually, that's something that I did want to bring up. It's always a rough time whenever any season ends, whether it's NFL or NBA, because it makes it so much tougher in the club.
Yes.
I mean, fake ballers
As
were
much as
getting
I
it
club,
in
yeah.
all throughout the season. Now it's over. You just released 400 specimens into the world.
I did like the term somebody used on, I think, our site on SB Nation to quote
Groupie
the
apocalypse.
groupie apocalypse.
Yeah.
That was the scene at like 6 a.m. outside of the strip of clubs.
Baller alert.
So here's my question to you now. Which direction do you go in party-wise after this? So you have the low-key diner, hang out with friends. You have the club to purely like ensconce yourself in the party. You have like getting shit-faced with your friends and teammates and all of your hangers-on. You have I'm going to make this a very sexual evening and just go for females. Which direction do you like? Where do you go?
You can also
Well-
sneak into old people's houses and try to see them having sex.
Yes,
That's
also an
true.
option. Thank
That's
you, Will.
true. Or you could wig
That's-
out on bath salts.
Yes,
also.
or the bath salt thing in
You could-
I was
Florida.
just about to say that's the Mike Miller style.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So what do you think is the most fun direction to go in?
Well, I think if you play in the NBA, unless you're Tiago Splitter, you can have a groupie apocalypse whenever you choose. There really should be a groupie apocalypse.
Right.
Whenever Norris Cole walks outside.
Right.
So I don't necessarily need. Maybe I'm overplaying more Norris Cole's hand.
Right.
But I don't think you necessarily need to do that on this night.
Okay.
I think you get faced with your teammates.
You get
I
faced
think
with
you
your
go crazy
teammates.
with your teammates.
Wow.
Matt, what do you?
I was just thinking. I figured that like throughout the season, it's a steady stream of groupies, but it's like one at a time. So I
Right.
win a championship. I'm like, you three and bring a friend
Right.
each.
So that's the move. It's
Well,
the
that-
elite night for
That's
that.
the move if you're going to be out of the league by next season.
Yeah, sure.
I think
Okay, so
definitely
that's the
move.
Joel Anthony play. Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
For me personally, at
Right.
this stage, a 34-year-old male, I don't like things loud. I can't.
Oh, awful.
If I can't hear conversations, I'm like, I gotta want to be here.
Yeah.
If I were an NBA player,
So
and
who was 34 in this game? Shane Battier was one of the 34-year-olds.
I guess I'd be
Ray
at
Ray
Dallas.
Allen's
Ray
pretty
Allen.
old, yeah.
Ray Allen's pretty old. So what would you do? What's the move?
I would probably try to find like a quiet whiskey bar with a couple friends.
Okay.
Sit down. Again, like this is old Matt Ufford. We're talking.
Well,
if I'm LeBron James and I'm
Right.
single.
Yeah.
And,
Which I don't believe he is. I don't believe he is.
Well, okay.
Is he? Okay. Right. There's air quotes implied.
Yeah.
It's an
You
NBA
think-
player.
You
Yeah.
think marriage applies to him?
Not
Right.
according to Samsung.
Right. Of
Yeah,
course.
not
The
according to
Samsung narrative is
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, no, I think that like if I'm lauded and everybody's cheering for me and
Right.
going crazy and like I'm getting tons of free champagne behind velvet ropes where I can't be touched,
And keep in mind
unless
you're
I
in the-
hand select beautiful women to come near me.
Right.
That sounds pretty good.
Keep in
actually.
mind, you're already getting sort of shit-faced in the locker room.
Yep.
The champagne's already flowing there. So you're talking about an after party at a club. See, I think I get faced. I like that term.
Nice.
I get faced with the teammates in the locker room, and then I probably bring a bunch of people home to my Miami manor,
Oh.
by the pool, enjoy the night, and you got to assume if you're bringing a bunch of people home, there's going to be a female or four ready to have fun.
You know
But
that's
then like randoms are stealing your stuff.
True. You got to be very careful.
that's true.
Yeah.
As an internet video host, I have a lot of experience.
What shitty friends do you have, Matt?
Well, they're not the friends. I'm talking about the
Friends
groupies
of
that
friends,
are coming
the
home.
groupies, sure.
They got the sticky fingers.
Yeah, you're just exhausted after this like war
Yeah.
of 7 games,
Yeah.
physically spent. Yeah, I feel like home is the move. But that again, Matt and I are combined like 914
Maybe you mix
years
the
old.
two. Just say, I want you 3 groupies, but you have to be quiet.
Right.
Just
Oh.
keep it quiet.
Let's just indoor voices,
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah. Don't get too excited. I want you to have fun.
Right.
But not too excited.
If you can tell me the last 3 books you read, you can come home with me.
What now transitioning, what is the best sport to win a championship in? So you have basketball and you have the club
Strictly
scene
for
obviously.
celebration purposes.
Strictly for celebration purposes. So you have basketball and a club scene. Obviously hip hop is very closely tied to basketball. And especially in places like Miami, LA, where it's been recently. You have baseball where the game in the locker room they go a lot harder in the locker room with the champagne and the goggles and everything. Seems like a good time. I'm not huge into baseball, but I could see the locker room in a baseball after the World Series being fun. You have football where there's a much bigger microscope on the Super Bowl and everything that's going on, and there's a lot more people to party with on your team.
Gotcha.
You got your 50 people, and then I don't know anything about hockey. What do
Well,
hockey?
hockey, they go crazy.
They go real
nuts.
hard.
Yeah. I mean,
And they have the cup to
the
drink
cup
out
is
of.
just filled with all sorts of diseases and whatnot. You don't
Right.
have that with the Larry O'Brien Trophy or the Vince Lombardi.
I do, but see, the cup instantly attracts people to you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
And there is something fun about that.
For like strictly party purposes, I
Right.
think the Stanley Cup wins. Like
I
who
think-
wants the Major League Baseball's
the base-
trophy? You got just
little
gonna bend and
flags.
break the flags
That's
off.
true. I mean, the Stanley Cup's a good one. I like basketball. It has the worst trophy, the Larry O'Brien. Like,
It
who
is
the
pretty
hell-
bad, yeah.
Why do we care about him? But the NBA is the only one where you can come in the next season out of shape and then go like, oh, he was partying. They won the championship.
Yeah,
you can
it's true.
literally just go underground for 18
Or
months.
you can just be Boris Diaw and
Yeah.
just do it all year.
Yeah.
I got a curveball for you here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the World Series of Poker.
Really?
Where
'Cause
they've got the $6, $7, $8 million laid out on the table in cash.
that is nice.
That's
And then
pretty
you
good.
win, and you're in Las Vegas, and you have a F load of cash
Yeah.
just burn through. That's gonna be an epic night.
It's good. Unfortunately, you did it playing poker.
It's a game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but who's to say you know when to say when? I mean, I'd
True.
like to see the guys that have won the World Series of Poker and whether they still have that money 3 months from
it's
now.
gone.
Whether it was them losing it in the casino or losing it outside in the alley outside the casino.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, put like $6 million of it into a safe deposit box, and then go take the rest of it out.
So
and
you're
play.
talking about financially responsible
Yeah, you're
gambling
like,
here?
Put in some high yield bonds. Yeah.
I'm talking about taking the cash, burying it in your backyard,
Yeah.
and then
It's a good life.
and then
That's a
go
good
finding
one.
as many.
I mean, you're going to go broke, but you're going to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I should add golf. You get a blazer.
That's true.
So there's that.
Go back to the 19th hole, have some quiet drinks.
Yeah, maybe sip a martini.
but then you have to bring a woman when
True.
you win.
Oh,
and
that's true.
That
If
detracts from
if
all
they're
the
even
others.
allowed, if they're
Right.
even
if they're
Right,
allowed
that's true.
in the cabin.
That's true.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say hockey just because of the cup factor. I feel like that's a good time that
Yeah.
night. But
I think football, there's too much scrutiny. You know, you can't get out of shape. You can be cut at any time.
yep,
Yeah.
true. You can't. And people are so paranoid with these teams about doing the wrong thing and
Yeah.
to get cut. And people don't recognize you. Even if you're like a starting outside linebacker, you're wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
So in like a sea of people that are enormous and muscular, it's hard to like know what football players look like.
And
I would wear my jersey constantly.
That's the move.
There you go.
That
If I
has to be
played,
the move.
I would do the high school
game,
thing.
no,
with
the
the leather
game worn
jacket.
that you
Yeah.
just wore. It's disgusting and muddy.
Be like
and
Eli
sweaty.
Manning and wear
Yeah.
and wear the T-shirt over the shoulder pads.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that. Who would be the least fun championship winner to party with after? I think it might be Eli.
He's on the short list, that's for sure.
The least fun. That's a
I would
good
say
one.
In recent
I mean,
championship history, I
and
know I'm putting
obviously
you on the spot.
Battier wasn't great.
Any
No.
born again Christian?
Yeah.
I heard Roethlisberger gets a little rapey.
Yeah.
Allegedly, Will. Allegedly.
I mean, on that note, I might say Aaron Hernandez.
Those charges were never filed.
True. It was
Yeah.
all worked out. Everything is okay. Who did Roethlisberger end up marrying? Like a cheerleader?
No, it wasn't a
victim.
cheerleader.
Oh.
No, not one of those. She's a victim from living with Roethlisberger. Get your
Okay.
mind out the
All
gutter.
right. All right. I don't know.
Come on.
He just used the adjective of rapey.
Yeah.
I
All
just
right,
I just
fair
figured it was like a Stockholm syndrome thing.
Right. That's fair. Yeah, I think
Hey,
it might be
serial
Eli.
killers got fans, man.
Eli would win a championship and like, you guys want to play some GoldenEye? You want to play some Mario Kart? Or
GoldenEye is a lot of fun.
it's okay.
Yeah.
I like it. So yeah, I think it's probably hockey for me.
And another thing, look at the NFL. Like the biggest spotlight is the MVP, and you go to Disney World.
Disney World.
And don't get me wrong, Disney World's fun, and they give you.
I've never been.
As I found out when I interviewed Heinz Ward last week, when you go to Disney World, you get like all-time front of the line passes.
Okay, so that was gonna ask.
It's not
that.
just
Oh.
like the one day you get to go to the front of the line. You can like go the rest of your life and just always go to the
Oh,
front of
it's
the line.
lifetime like
Yes.
gold card.
That's
Yes.
pretty strong.
I'm a big Thunder Mountain Railroad fan.
That's pretty
I'm
strong.
Space
I
Mountain
like
all the
that.
way.
Space
That's
Mountain,
my
Team
jam.
Space Mountain.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
It's not the place for adult fun, though.
No.
So I feel you
It's
on that.
not.
Yeah. I remember doing a stand-up gig in Orlando, and my hotel just had little kids running around outside of it 24 hours a day.
Right.
I didn't even try and hook up for the weekend because it's going to be awkward because there's kids outside
right.
24 hours
It's
a day.
degree of difficulty though. It's
No,
a challenge.
I don't want to know what could be happening right now in my future.
True.
Like
My
right
notion
outside
of
my door.
Orlando is golf courses and young children in the employ of Disney, such as like NSYNC and like
Oh, yeah.
and like kids groups that are trying to make it as like boy bands.
It's just like the B-level Lou Pearlmans just
Yeah.
scouting people that's awful.
Yeah.
That is an awful situation. I'm glad you mentioned on the road with stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
We like speaking in terms of best and worst. What major city do you dread the most on the road?
Do I dread the
Where like you
most?
see it on the list, you're like, I have a show there. It's it pays, but man, I am glad that I am leaving there shortly.
L.A.
L.A.
LA.
Why is that?
Because when you're, first of all, okay, when you're in Indianapolis or Sheboygan
Yeah.
or wherever,
Right.
and you go there to do Sheboygan more so than Indianapolis,
Right.
When you go there and do stand-up, you're the thing.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
are the thing.
True.
You're the guy for like a weekend. When you go to L.A. and you go and do a show, oh yeah, you just followed Dane Cook and
Yeah.
Chris Rock is coming up after you. I dare you to try to talk to anybody.
Make me chuckle.
Exactly. You're like I'm walking up to girls like, hey, so I hope you enjoyed my show. It's like, why don't you come to my show that's happening tomorrow?
Everybody has a flyer.
And I was like, this is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
At least in New York City, obviously there's a lot of performers here, but
Right.
there's a lot of regular people. And I still, when I was living here, I still felt a little bit of gas, when I would talk to people that weren't performers.
Right.
LA doesn't exist.
That's true.
That's definitely the
People
worst.
move to LA to become someone. So they're
Exactly.
constantly trying to become someone.
Exactly.
New York, it's different.
Yeah.
You have people that move here for finance and fashion and all sorts of things where it's not just about their face
Yeah.
and their talent.
And you can trick people in random places into thinking you're bigger than you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they don't really have any concept. Like, if you've been on television, they're like, oh, he must be a big deal. I just don't know who he is.
Right.
In LA, they know you're not a big deal. They're like, I know your show isn't on TV anymore.
You're not Tom
And-
Cruise.
Exactly.
I know that you're not a
Yes,
big deal.
Exactly.
All right, that's fair. I've got a good hypothetical question. We like
Okay.
to do this from time to time to put yourself in a spot hypothetically and to see where you go with this. We already hypothetically spoke about who would be the worst person to win a championship with, what would be the best sports in which you could win a championship. But in sitting around the office, we have these discussions with Will. Hey, Will. How you doing,
Hello.
Will? And Rob, the producer on this fine program. So here's a question right now. You're on a desert island, and you are joined by either your celebrity crush or you're joined by Ryan Gosling, who you get to hang out with all week and enjoy the fruits of him being Ryan Gosling.
Wait, a desert island? So like,
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
like,
excuse me. Not a desert
what,
island.
there's a
This is
girls'
not-
school on the other
Excuse
side?
me.
Like-
This is not
I
a very
misspoke.
good desert
I
island.
misspoke. A tropical island.
Okay.
A tropical island. So
All right.
you can either have the story about hanging with Gosling and like the girls that are surrounding, and then there's the shrapnel situation, and you just get a much bigger story, or it's like you get to go to the island with Mila Kunis, and that's just that.
Okay, but me and Mila Kunis don't have any pre-existing relationship.
Correct.
Like, I don't know that if she even likes me
No,
at
no.
all.
But she's into you for the week.
She's into you for that week.
She has been brainwashed.
Yeah.
She's
There is a lobotomized situation afoot,
oh,
and it could be anybody.
that's
I
interesting.
think this is a no-brainer.
What is the
That's
answer?
interesting.
Because I will happily take a week with this is ringless Matt. I'll take that week without with Scarlett Johansson being totally into me because
Right.
like that's a week with Scarlett Johansson that
Right.
I've got the rest of my life instead of like whoever I ended up with who's disappointed that I'm not Ryan Gosling.
That's true. And Ryan Gosling could be selfish. He
Oh,
could
I'm
be
sure
selfish.
he is, but I feel like he's a good time. I feel like it's. I'm
you
gonna
know
go
who's a better time than Ryan Gosling?
Scarlett Johansson.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I think I do go with the famous dude, just because of the experience with what that life is.
See,
And you get the boudoir
I
episodes.
typically would go with.
He's
pretty
cool with
good.
you watching.
That's pretty
not
good.
that, but yeah.
I would typically go with the famous dude.
Yeah.
But I don't like the Ryan Gosling.
Okay, not
'Cause
necessarily
I don't like
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
It
I
could be
think-
anybody. It could be Clooney. Could be Jay-Z. Could be somebody where it's just
Yeah.
like you have a story for the next 40 years.
You know who the best guy is?
Who's that?
It's Tebow.
to go
Because
on
he's not taking anything down.
True.
He's attracting them and just passing them off.
attract and well.
He's Mookie Blaylock.
we're still
right there.
concerned
He's
about his
finding them.
passing abilities,
That's
technically
fair enough.
speaking.
That's true. You know what? I can scoop. I can scoop.
can
I'll
get-
go down on my knees.
Pick up. All right.
It's no problem with that.
He passes you girls
I'll
and they
go
end
to
up
the
in the
ground.
ocean. Oops. Sorry, Dan. That's on me.
You also always have a designated driver with Tebow.
True.
That's
Also,
true.
but you don't need it necessarily on the tropical island.
If it's Tebow, I go Tebow.
Okay. Will,
Yeah.
what was?
If it's Gosling, I go Crush Lola Jones.
Ooh, Lolo.
Lolo. Okay. I like.
I'm a big fan of Virgins.
You could
evidently.
show her the
Yeah.
ropes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Be like, this is as
exactly.
good as it gets,
and she will
never know.
forget.
Oh, Tebow and Lolo together, they produce a super virgin.
It's already
Yeah.
been. It's already
It
been
has
discussed.
been. Okay,
Yeah.
I assumed it had been. Will, how did this also evolve? What did it evolve into?
What did it come from, or where
Yeah,
did
what did it
What was
originally
what was
come
its
from?
Genesis.
So it started off with you're in this kind of tropical destination,
Mhm.
and you're either with that chick that you had a crush on in high school. You're with
Okay.
her for a week, and she's into you for the week.
Right,
Or you meet an exotic beauty from the land.
a native.
And you guys you don't speak any of the same language. You can speak with your body. But it's just kind of like a week of you enjoying each other's company without talking. And I like that one because it's like the romanticism aspect.
See,
of
I
it.
don't like that
You
at
don't
all.
have to talk to her. So
I don't like that because how do I know that I'm not committing some sort of crime? Or I'm not
You're
about
in
to
the
get
clear.
cut up with a machete by some guy behind me. I don't know what her situation
This
is.
is
True.
this is fantasy scenario.
It's
Okay.
fantasy.
It can
You're worrying a little bit much.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a warrior.
Yeah. I think I would see. I don't like the island native situation. I would go high school crush.
Racist.
But the problem with the high school crush,
I know.
you got to catch up a lot. Well, this could be any
Yeah.
island, Matt.
I'm not going to go into details. when I first lived in New York,
Mm-hmm.
fairly early on, I ran into my high school's old like prom queen.
Mm-hmm.
She was like a year younger than I was.
Right.
We took like French together. I was in a, let's say, just lower social circle than
happens.
she was because she was very popular.
Right.
And we ended up dating for like a brief time, and it was definitely like. It was an exciting time for me because
Right.
but
well,
like,
you can tell your friends from high school. You're like, you don't want.
I don't really have friends from high
Oh,
school.
that's true.
Yeah.
You moved
But,
around a lot. Yeah.
um,
You find a way to tell them.
But it's
Yeah.
definitely like a piece of like 10 years down the road. Like I was cherishing it. Like I was like, yeah, I could never. I was always like when I was with her, it's just like 10 years earlier.
Right.
See, I tried to do that.
So you were high-fiving high school Matt.
Yes.
Okay.
My high school homecoming my senior year, I invited the girl I had a crush on from elementary school.
Wow.
That I had.
And she was going to school with you.
No, she wasn't. No, I had to track her down because I
Wow.
wasn't dating anybody.
Off
I was
the
like,
grid.
she doesn't know I'm a cornball that I turned into, and I was like, oh, well, she probably does because I was that way then too. But I was like, maybe I can, trying to finesse her and trick. So I ended up hanging out with her, invited her to go. She went. We ended up making out in the middle of the homecoming, which was for me like 3 days of sex. Might as well. That's how I felt. And so I went afterwards. I went to call the guy who she dated in elementary school, just to tell him, hey, it went down.
By the way,
conversation goes, hey, what's up, man? You remember Amanda? He's like, yeah, it was funny. You should mention her. We went skinny dipping like a week ago. Now they click. Did not go according to plan.
Elementary fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that happens. Will, was there anything else? Any other evolution? Because we also talked about celebrity couple, going away with a celebrity couple.
Oh yeah, but I think on that we just ended that it would be Bill and Hillary.
Oh yeah.
Just
Who would be
go
the
hang
best?
out with the Clintons?
I thought when you said obviously, I was thinking like obviously Jay and Beyonce.
Right. No, I think who would be the best celebrity couple to
don't
go
agree.
away with on vacation?
I think it's got to be Chris Brown and Riri.
Oh no.
It's got to be Chris Brown
terrible.
and Riri.
Man.
Wait, why is it bad? First of all,
Well,
we
stories.
know What?
Yes. You get stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, first of all, I'm assuming they're going to get along for the time that we're there.
yes.
There's not going to be any shenanigans.
How does that assumption happen?
All right,
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
Provided they get along.
Provided in this
and
fantasy
I don't
world.
have to turn state's witness.
Okay.
I would say the two of them because they're going to attract women, both of them.
That's true.
And they like
See,
to
that's
pass.
the key.
That's an
Yeah.
excellent point.
Because we were talking about Jay and Beyonce, and they're both going to, but not necessarily in any sort of fun way.
No.
See, I'm a married man. I'm assuming that I'm going on like on a double
This is
vacation.
alternate world, Matt.
Okay.
Yes.
It burns.
Yeah. So who is the
Oh, so
couple? Is it Jay and
the-
Beyonce for you?
I think so.
Are they fun?
I don't know. I'd like to find out.
I bet they're not.
You
fun.
just want to be in the room with Rick Rubin. That's what you want to
That's true.
establish. You
Yeah.
want to be in the room with Rick Rubin and
And
Timbaland.
who let Swiss Beats in the room?
That was weird.
Have we figured that out?
that
I think
felt
they're
like-
just trying to get to Alicia Keys.
That
might
could be it.
it.
Like he was like as they were closing the door after Rick Rubin walked in, he just like, "Huh, guys, room for one?
Maybe
No?
he just pulled the Bob Benson and was just there all the time.
Right, he just had
like,
two
why are you
coffees.
here, Swiss Beats?
He's like, Swiss Beats accounts?
I have nowhere
What?
else to go. My first name is Swizz.
He's not into women.
Yeah, that could be too.
The other good one was John Legend and Chrissy Teigen.
Oh,
that would be
that's,
good.
That's a good call. Yeah, I'd actually switch that up.
I
Sorry, J and B.
Women like them both. Yeah,
I can't deal with Chrissy Teigen.
Really?
Nah, she just,
I don't
just
follow her
talks
on
way
Twitter.
Too much.
I don't follow her on Twitter. I follow her on Instagram.
She's very self-important,
Robbie
which is
says
which is
Roseanne
saying
and Tom
something.
Arnold.
right.
Because most famous people are self-important,
Yeah.
but she
Right.
takes it to a whole new level.
I'm gonna close this episode on another very important question that I feel like you would be an expert on. Hotly debated topic. Are funny women attractive?
Very
Are attractive funny women attractive?
less so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less so.
Explain that to me. How does that work?
Because a funny woman, my ex-girlfriend was a comedian, and it was awesome. Like I would run jokes by her.
Right.
We would watch South Park like for
Something
dates.
to relate
like,
to,
It
yeah.
was fantastic. But she, God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. She wasn't a 10.
Okay.
She wasn't a 10.
Very
Sure.
few
And
are.
it was very attractive
Yeah.
that she could relate to me in that way.
Right.
And that she was obviously very smart and witty and all that kind of stuff. Like I could bring her to a party and
Sure.
she wouldn't know anybody and just go. I'm going to go do my thing over here. And she's like holding court over there. It was fantastic. But for a woman who's already smoking hot.
Like
you have-
Chrissy Teigen.
Like Chrissy Teigen. You have your expectations up here. But when she starts to open up and talk about.
Sense of humor is very like subjective.
Exactly. You know, and women, like when women are funny, they tend to go TMI, right? And for a hot woman,
Right.
TMI will never help you.
Yeah. Jenny McCarthy-itis.
Exactly, because my fantasy has you doing no human things. But if you're going to be funny, all of a sudden you're doing human things.
That's true.
less
I
attractive.
feel like Jenny McCarthy.
Guys, I
pre-crazy,
fart.
pre-crazy.
Yeah.
Like 1995 Jenny McCarthy.
Sure.
When she was just the host of whatever that
Singled
MTV
out.
Singled out.
Yeah.
With Chris Hardwick.
She
Yeah, good
made
show.
herself less attractive by trying to be funny.
She did. Like literally,
it's
because she
tough.
would do pig face.
Although
but
that's-
also the stuff that came out of her
It's
mouth.
an insult to female comedians to compare Jenny McCarthy to
And
them,
yes,
of course.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I don't know.
I feel like I've got a very funny wife.
Yeah, Jenny
She's-
is very funny.
She's attractive and
right.
funny.
But she's not trying to be like the funny one in the room constantly.
It's true. Well, I don't know.
Well, she's married to you, so you have to give and take.
I'm happy. I'm happy when we go out, and like I'm happy just to defer to her sometimes.
All right.
That's
Just,
cool.
let
See,
her
that's
carry.
awesome to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That is
I
nice.
feel like you have to carry the team all the time.
No.
Like Chris Bosh, put the ball in the hole once.
And it's like what you were saying too. I can take her to a party with like only my friends and like leave her alone in the corner
This
for
is
20
true.
minutes, and she like gets along famously. Like people wanna-
Exactly.
she makes people
That's always been very important.
That's the way to go. So what is your next move now? What does the summer look like for Reese Waters?
Summer,
Star.
You know what? I'm going back on the road doing
Okay.
stand up. So I'm going to be doing some club work. I'm also going to be doing some cruise work.
Nice.
Which is
I've heard great things about
it's-
the like for working comedians.
It's risk reward on a cruise because one of the coolest things about comedy is that if it doesn't go well, you get to leave and just pretend like
true.
the whole thing never happened. So I've had the experience of having to ride around with my failure for 8 days. Right? I'm sitting
rough.
there at breakfast the next day and people walking by like, there he is.
I
Nothing
just
funny to
want
say.
my Canadian bacon.
Exactly.
Now, do you do the same set for 8 days, or do you do different material every night?
I'll change it up. I'll
Okay.
change it up. Typically, they'll have like a kid show and an adult show, so
right.
you get to split it in two right there. And then
Which do you do
kinda
better
rotate
with?
Stuff on and off. Definitely the adult show.
Definitely the adult show?
And my
Okay.
adult show isn't even dirty, but it's just the kid show has to be like squeaky
Mm-hmm.
clean. And there's literally kids there.
Teachers, am I right?
Yeah.
Teachers.
Not the most developed.
So
sense of humor.
you can't do like your feet material for the kids.
I could do my feet material for the
Right.
kids in a mimey way.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
fair.
they wouldn't get like my Wes Welker references, for instance. But
Do you remember the name of the shoe that Matt told you at the beginning of the episode with the ribbon and the wedge?
it started with an E.
It did
Correct.
indeed.
I want to say Esperanza.
Yep.
Close.
That's the exact right
Close.
answer. Now it's espadrille.
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 Yep.
Ah.
You'll never forget now.
No, I won't.
All right. So
No, I
cruise work, club work.
Cruise work, club work, and putting some stuff together to go do. I want to be like you guys. I want to be the internet sensation.
We want
that
to
is
be
the
like
Happy
you.
Hour.
There is.
He says that to us, and he has like more followers on Twitter than
No.
I do.
He is a TV man.
Which somebody had the freedom to come down from Connecticut.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true.
This guy did.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I am-
and you asked me before we started,
Yeah.
so you got to get down, and I'm like, no. Probably just gonna hang out at Bryant Park, see what happens. Hand
That's-
out some flyers.
That's the place for espadrilles.
It is.
It's a strong espadrille, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Of this time of year. All right. Well, his name is Reese Waters. By all means, fall over yourself to follow him on Twitter, reesewaters.com. Check for him at a club or a boat near you.
Just get on a boat. Ask for Reese Waters. Hop on yachts.
At a
Occupy
certain
yachts.
point, you will get on his boat.
Yes.
Which I'm going to use as some sort of euphemism right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Get on
But
his boat now.
Thank you very much for watching. That is Matt Ufford. This is Reese Waters. My name is Dan, and we will see you soon.
Bye.